I watched him raise his champagne glass to 200 investors, his tailored suit catching the light as he stood before the Boston skyline. "I built this, completely on my own," my son announced, his voice steady with confidence. With no help from anyone, he thanked his business mentor, his partners, his wife's family, but not me. Not once. So I stood, placed an envelope on his table, smiled, and walked out of that ballroom. 58 floors down, I heard nothing but my own footsteps. But when he opened that envelope in front of his investors, his entire world came crashing down, and I was already gone. Let me back up. My name is Robert Hayes. I'm 62 years old, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I'd done everything right as a father. I taught American literature at Brookline High School for 37 years. Not the kind of job that makes you rich, but it paid the bills. My wife, Sarah, and I lived in a modest 3-bedroom colonial in Newton. We had one son, Daniel. That was enough for us. Sarah passed away 4 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. She went from diagnosis to gone in 7 months. The medical bills ate through our savings like acid. Even with insurance, we were left with over $80,000 in debt. I took out a reverse mortgage on the house. It was the only way. I'm still living there, technically, but the bank owns more of it than I do now. Daniel graduated from Boston College in 2010. Smart kid, really smart. He wanted to go to Wharton for his MBA. Full tuition was $65,000 a year, and he didn't get a scholarship. He came to me in my kitchen, spring of 2012, with printouts of his acceptance letter. "Dad, this is my shot," he said. "This is how I break into finance, how I make something of myself." I looked at those numbers. I was 54 years old. Sarah was already sick, though we didn't know how sick yet. I had maybe 15 years until retirement. My 401k had taken a beating in 2008. I had about 120,000 saved. "What about loans?" I asked. "I'll have loans, Dad. But I need help. I need someone to believe in me." That's what got me. I need someone to believe in me. I co-signed for $40,000 in student loans. I took another $30,000 from my retirement account, paid the penalty, and gave it to him. "This is for living expenses," I told him, "so you can focus on school, not on working 3 jobs. He hugged me. "I'll pay you back, Dad, I promise. Once I'm making real money." He graduated from Wharton in 2014, got recruited immediately by Morgan Stanley, started at $130,000 a year. Sarah and I were so proud. We drove down to New York for his going-away party. He was moving to Manhattan, sharing an apartment in Murray Hill with 2 other analysts. "This is just the beginning," he told us at dinner that night. Sarah's hands were shaking by then. She could barely hold her fork. "I'm going to make you proud." "We're already proud," Sarah said quietly. That was one of the last times I saw her smile. After Sarah died, Daniel came home for the funeral. He stayed 3 days. He seemed distracted, checking his phone constantly. "I'm sorry, Dad," he said on the 3rd day. "I have to get back. Big deal closing. If I'm not there, I'll lose face with the partners." "I understand," I said, though I didn't. He left. I sold Sarah's car to help pay the funeral costs. Daniel had sent flowers, beautiful flowers, $500 worth of white roses. I would have rather had him there for a week. Time passed. I kept teaching. The years after Sarah were hard. The house felt too big, too quiet. I thought about selling it, but it was our house, where we'd raised Daniel, where Sarah had planted roses in the backyard every spring. Daniel called every few months, usually on Sundays. The conversations were brief. He was busy. He'd made vice president at 29, then senior vice president at 32. He was doing well, really well. He bought a condo in Tribeca, started dating a woman named Madison, whose father owned a chain of luxury car dealerships. I retired in June of last year. My pension was $2,800 a month. Social Security added another $1,900, $4,700 a month total. The reverse mortgage payments were $1,100. Utilities, insurance, property tax, food, medication for my blood pressure and cholesterol. I had about $800 of discretionary income monthly. I was comfortable enough. I could have been more comfortable, But I'd made my choice. I'd invested in my son. Last December, Daniel called. It was a Tuesday evening. I was grading old papers. I still did that sometimes, just to keep my mind sharp, when my phone rang. "Dad, I've got news," he said. He sounded excited, more animated than I'd heard him in years. "I'm leaving Morgan Stanley. I'm starting my own investment advisory firm." "That's wonderful, son," I said, and I meant it. "It's called Hayes Capital Partners. I'm using our name, Dad, the Hayes name." Something warm spread through my chest. I'm honored. "I'm doing a launch event in 3 weeks, January 15th. It's a big deal, Dad. I've got commitments from some serious investors. We're talking 50, 60 million in managed assets right out of the gate." "That's incredible, Daniel. I want you there," he said. "I'm renting out the ballroom at the Mandarin Oriental, 58th floor. It'll be formal. Black tie. Can you make it?" "Of course I can make it," I said. "Black tie? I'd have to rent a tuxedo. I hadn't worn one since Sarah's brother's wedding in 2005. "Great. I'll have an invitation couriered to you. This is going to be the start of something huge, Dad." We talked for another 10 minutes. He told me about Madison, how they were getting serious, how her family was well connected in the business world. He told me about his business plan, though I understood maybe half of it. Fee structures, asset allocation strategies, white glove service for high net worth individuals. After we hung up, I sat in my chair for a long time, just smiling. My son was successful. He was making his mark. Everything I'd sacrificed had been worth it. The invitation arrived 3 days later in a cream-colored envelope with gold embossing. It looked expensive. Inside was a card with elegant script. "You are cordially invited to the launch of Hayes Capital Partners, January 15th, 2025. Mandarin Oriental, Boston. 6 p.m. reception, 7 p.m. remarks. Black tie." I called the tuxedo rental place in Newton. $185 for the rental, including shoes. I could afford that. I wanted to look good. I wanted Daniel to be proud to have me there. I started thinking about a gift. What do you give your son when he's starting a business? When he's probably making $300,000, $400,000 a year? I thought about it for days. Finally, I decided on a check. $10,000. It was everything I had left in my savings account after Christmas. But this was my son's big moment. I wanted to contribute something. I put the check in a nice card. I wrote, "Daniel, I'm so proud of the man you've become. This is to help you build your dream. You've always had everything it takes to succeed. Love, Dad." January 15th came. I put on the rented tuxedo. It fit well enough. I looked at myself in the mirror and thought about Sarah. She would have been so happy to see this day. The drive into Boston took 40 minutes. I parked in the hotel garage, $35 for the evening. The lobby was all marble and glass, the kind of place where even the air felt expensive. The ballroom was on the 58th floor. When the elevator doors opened, I stepped into another world. Crystal chandeliers, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbor, ice sculptures, waiters in white jackets carrying champagne on silver trays. There must have been 200 people there, all in tuxedos and evening gowns. I'd never been anywhere like it. I found Daniel near the bar, surrounded by a group of men in expensive suits. He saw me and waved, but he didn't come over. He mouthed 1 minute and went back to his conversation. I stood there for 15 minutes, holding my envelope, feeling out of place. Finally, Daniel broke away and came over. "Dad, you made it," he said. He shook my hand, shook it, didn't hug me. "You look good." "You too, son. This is incredible." "Yeah, it came together well. Listen, I've got to work the room, you understand? These people are potential clients, major money. But grab some food, have a drink. We'll talk after my speech." "Of course," I said. I held out the envelope. "This is for you, for your new venture." He took it, glanced at it. "Thanks, Dad. I'll open it later." He slipped it into his jacket pocket without looking and turned back to the crowd. I spent the next hour standing near the windows, watching Daniel move through the room. He was charismatic, confident. He'd shake hands, laugh at jokes, lean in close for private conversations. He was in his element. Madison was there too, though I didn't meet her. She was stunning, blonde, wearing a dress that probably cost more than my monthly pension. She and Daniel moved together like a unit, each introducing the other, playing off each other's energy. At 7, someone dimmed the lights. A small stage at one end of the room lit up. Daniel stepped up to a podium. The room fell silent. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began. His voice was smooth, practiced. "This is a dream years in the making." He talked about his vision for Hayes Capital Partners. Personalized service, aggressive growth strategies balanced with risk management, building wealth for generations, not just quarters. Then he shifted. "I want to take a moment to thank the people who made this possible," he said. "First, my incredible wife-to-be, Madison." She blew him a kiss from the front row. People clapped. Her family has been instrumental in helping me build the connections that make a firm like this viable. He thanked his business partners, 2 men in their 40s who stood and nodded. He thanked his mentor from Morgan Stanley. "You taught me everything about this business," Daniel said. "You showed me that success isn't just about numbers. It's about relationships. It's about trust." He kept going. He thanked his MBA professors, his undergraduate advisors, his college roommate who'd introduced him to someone who became a client. I waited. I stood there in the back, holding my champagne glass, waiting for him to mention me. "Most importantly," Daniel said, and here he paused, looking out at the crowd, "I want to thank myself." Polite laughter rippled through the room. "No, I'm serious," he continued, "because at the end of the day, I built this completely on my own, with no help from anyone. I put myself through school. I worked 80-hour weeks. I made sacrifices. Nobody handed this to me. Everything you see here tonight, I earned." The room erupted in applause. I stood there, frozen. My champagne glass trembled in my hand. With no help from anyone. I put myself through school. Nobody handed this to me. I felt something crack inside my chest. A physical sensation, like a bone breaking. Daniel raised his glass. "To Hayes Capital Partners. To building wealth. To doing it on our own terms." "Hear, hear," the crowd responded. I set my glass down on a table. My hands were shaking. I walked through the crowd toward the stage. People were mingling now, the speech over. The formal part of the evening concluded. I pushed through them until I reached Daniel. He was talking to an older gentleman, laughing at something. I touched his elbow. "Dad, hey," he said, turning. "What'd you think? Good speech?" I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out an envelope. Not the one with the check, a different one. One I'd prepared last night, after I couldn't sleep, after something in my gut told me to be prepared for disappointment. "I brought you a different gift," I said quietly. "I want you to open it." "Dad, I'm kind of in the middle of something." "Open it, please. It'll just take a minute." He sighed, but he took it. He tore it open. Inside were 3 pages, folded. He unfolded them. The first page was a photocopy of a check, dated September 2012, made out to Wharton School of Business, $30,000, signed by me. Memo line, Daniel's tuition, first semester. The second page was a bank statement from 2012, showing a withdrawal from my retirement account, $30,000. Early withdrawal penalty, $6,000. The third page was a loan document from Citizens Bank, $40,000 in student loans, 2 signatures, Daniel's and mine. I was the cosigner. I was still making payments on it. Would be until 2027. Daniel's face went pale. "You told 200 people you built this completely on your own," I said quietly, "with no help from anyone. You said nobody handed anything to you." "Dad, I didn't mean... I gave you $70,000. I mortgaged my retirement. I'm still paying off your loans. I eat soup and crackers 3 nights a week because that's what I can afford after I pay your loans." People were starting to notice. The older gentleman Daniel had been talking to took a tactful step back. "That check I gave you earlier," I said, "that was $10,000. Everything I had left. Because I thought you'd appreciate it. Because I thought you remembered who believed in you when you needed someone to believe. Dad, please, not here. You're right, I said. Not here. I took the envelope with the check from his jacket pocket. He didn't stop me. Congratulations on your success, Daniel, I said. You earned it, completely on your own, with no help from anyone. I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard Madison's voice. Daniel, what was that? What's going on? I didn't hear his answer. I was already at the elevator. The ride down 58 floors felt like falling. The lobby was still bright and beautiful, but I didn't see it anymore. I walked to my car in the garage, got in, and sat there for 20 minutes, gripping the steering wheel. My phone started ringing around 8, Daniel's name on the screen. I declined the call. It rang again 5 minutes later. Declined. A text. Dad, please call me. Let me explain. I turned the phone off. I drove home. The house was dark and empty. I turned on one lamp in the living room and sat in my chair. The one I'd sat in the night Sarah died. The night I'd sat alone and wondered how I'd go on. The envelope with the check was still in my jacket pocket. I took it out and looked at it. $10,000. Made out to Daniel Hayes with a note. For your dreams. I tore it up. Let the pieces fall on the coffee table like snow. My phone, when I turned it back on the next morning, had 17 missed calls. 12 from Daniel. 3 from Madison. 2 from numbers I didn't recognize. There were texts. Dad, I'm sorry. I got caught up in the moment. Please call me back. Let's talk about this. I didn't mean it the way it sounded. You're being unreasonable. It was a speech. I couldn't list every person who ever helped me. That last one was from the following evening. I didn't respond to any of them. A week later, a letter arrived. Not an email. An actual letter. Handwritten on cream-colored stationery with the Hayes Capital Partners letterhead. Dad, it began. I know I hurt you. I'm sorry. I was trying to project confidence to potential investors. You have to understand, in my world, showing any sign of dependency or assistance is seen as weakness. I had to present myself as self-made. It's what these people want to hear. The letter went on for 2 pages. Explanations, justifications, promises to make it right. At the end, I'll pay you back. Every cent. I'm doing well now. I can afford it. Let me take you to dinner. Let's fix this. I put the letter in a drawer. 2 weeks after the launch party, Daniel showed up at my house. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was in the backyard, looking at Sarah's rose bushes. They needed pruning. I'd let them go wild. Dad, Daniel called from the driveway. I turned. He was standing there in jeans and a sweater, looking young and uncertain in a way I hadn't seen since he was a teenager. Can we talk? He asked. I suppose we're going to, I said. He walked over, kept his distance, like he wasn't sure if I'd turn him away. I'm sorry, he said. I'm truly, genuinely sorry. I got caught up. The pressure, the need to impress these people. I lost sight of what matters. Who I am? I asked. What you've done for me? He said. And yes, who you are. Do you know what hurt the most? I asked him. It wasn't that you didn't thank me. It was that you erased me. You stood there and told a story about your life, and I wasn't in it. Your mother wasn't in it. We didn't exist. Dad, I'm not finished, I said. And something in my voice made him stop. You said you did it all on your own, but you didn't. You had a mother who worked nights as a hospital secretary to help pay for your college applications, your SAT prep courses, your summer programs. She died with medical debt that I'm still paying off. Debt we got because we didn't have enough saved, because we gave it to you. I didn't know. You didn't ask. You haven't asked about my life in 5 years. You call on Sundays for 10 minutes. You tell me about your deals, your promotions, your girlfriend. You've never once asked me how I'm doing, if I'm okay, if I need anything. He looked down at his shoes. Expensive shoes. Probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. I gave you that $70,000 because I believed in you, I continued. Not because I expected you to pay it back, though you promised you would. Not because I wanted credit, but because that's what fathers do. We give our children opportunities we never had. We sacrifice. I know, he said quietly. But you know what I wanted in return? Not money. Not a big thank you at your fancy party. I wanted to matter. I wanted to be a part of your life. I wanted my son to call me because he wanted to talk to me, not because it was Sunday and he felt obligated. The silence between us was heavy. A bird sang somewhere in the neighbor's yard. The rose bushes rustled in the wind. I can't take back what I said, Daniel finally spoke. But I can do better going forward. I want to do better. I don't know if I believe you, I said. Not because I think you're lying, but because I don't know if you understand what I'm asking for. It's not about money. It's about showing up. It's about remembering where you came from. I remember, he said. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you've spent 10 years trying to forget. You moved to New York to get away. You come home for Christmas and can't wait to leave. You're embarrassed of this house, of my pension, of the fact that your father was a high school English teacher and not a Wall Street executive. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you introduced me to your friends? When was the last time I met Madison properly? You've been together for 3 years, and I've seen her once, at the party, from across a ballroom. He didn't have an answer to that. I think you should go, I said. Dad, please. I need time, Daniel. I need time to figure out if I can forgive this. And you need time to figure out if you actually want a father in your life, or if you just want to feel like you've resolved a problem. He stood there for a long moment. Then he nodded. I love you, Dad, he said. I know you do, I said. I just don't know if you like me very much. He left. I watched his car pull out of the driveway. A Tesla Model S. Silver. Probably $90,000. I went back inside and sat in my chair. That was 3 weeks ago. He hasn't called. Hasn't texted. I wonder if he's waiting for me to make the first move, or if he's relieved. Maybe this is what he wanted all along. Permission to cut ties without feeling guilty about it. Madison called once. Left a voicemail. Mr. Hayes, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for what happened. Daniel is sorry too. He talks about you all the time. He knows he messed up. I hope you two can work things out. I didn't call her back either. Yesterday, I got a check in the mail. $70,000 from Hayes Capital Partners. The memo line said, repayment of all loans and gifts, 2012 to 2025. There was a note attached. Dad, I know this doesn't fix what I said, but I never forgot what you gave me. I've been planning to pay you back for years. I should have done it sooner. This is yours. Do what you want with it. But please know that none of my success means anything if I've lost you in the process. I'm not asking for forgiveness yet. I know I don't deserve it. I'm just asking for a chance to be the son you deserve. Love, Daniel. The check is sitting on my kitchen table right now. I haven't cashed it. I haven't torn it up either. I don't know what to do with it. Part of me wants to throw it away, to prove that this was never about money. Part of me thinks about what that money could do. I could pay off the medical debt. I could stop the reverse mortgage. I could actually retire instead of just existing. But what I really want, what I've always wanted, is my son. Not his money, not his success, just him. Calling on a Tuesday night because he saw something that reminded him of me. Visiting on a random weekend, not because it's a holiday. Introducing me to Madison not as an obligation, but because he's proud of where he came from. I don't know if that's possible anymore. I don't know if it ever was. Maybe I built up this idea of who Daniel was, who we were together, and it was always just in my head. Maybe he grew up in a way, and that's just what children do. Or maybe, just maybe, that check and that note mean something. Maybe my son is finally seeing clearly. Maybe losing me scared him more than I thought it would. I'll probably cash the check. I'd be a fool not to. $70,000 is more money than I've had in a decade. It won't fix everything, but it'll fix a lot. But what I won't do is call him first. If Daniel wants his father in his life, he needs to show me. Not with money, with time, with effort, with actually caring about who I am, not just feeling guilty about what he did. Sarah used to tell me that raising children was about preparing them to leave you. that the goal was to make yourself unnecessary. We're training them to not need us anymore, she'd say. But I never thought that meant they'd forget us entirely. So I'm waiting. I'm sitting in this house that's too big and too quiet, with a $70,000 check on my table and 17 years of memories in my heart. And I'm waiting to see if my son remembers that he has a father. Not for money, not for connections, not for anything except love. That's what I gave him. That's what I've always given him. Now, I'll see if he understands what that's worth. The check is still sitting there. I haven't touched it in 2 days. I keep walking past it, like it's something dangerous. Maybe it is. Maybe accepting it means forgiving him before he's earned it. Or maybe it means acknowledging that he's trying. I made soup for dinner tonight. Campbell's chicken noodle. 69 cents a can. I ate it at the kitchen table, alone, with that check 3 feet away. My phone is next to the bowl, face up, like I'm daring it to ring. It doesn't, and so I wait.